Welcome back to WNBA Pro. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm not here to protect feelings. I'm here to break down the tape, expose every single flaw, and give credit where credit is absolutely due. And today, we are dissecting one of the most insane, emotionally draining, historically significant games of the entire 2025 WNBA season. Indiana Fever versus the Washington Mystics. A game that had everything. Dominance, collapse, heartbreak, and then one of the coldest shots ever taken in professional basketball history. Let's set the scene properly, because context matters in this conversation. The Indiana Fever came into this game with something to prove. Caitlyn Clark has been carrying this franchise on her back since day one, and the early part of this game showed exactly why the entire basketball world cannot stop talking about her. From the opening tip, Clark was locked in. Not warm, not finding her rhythm, not easing into the game. Locked in. She dropped 10 points in the first quarter alone, dictating tempo, controlling the pace, making the Washington defense look completely helpless. The ball movement was crisp. The offensive sets were flowing. The Fever looked like the team everyone in Indianapolis believes they can be when everything is clicking at the highest level. And they built a 17-point lead because of it. 17 points. In a professional basketball game, a 17-point lead is supposed to be a fortress. It is supposed to be untouchable. You manage the clock, you protect the basketball, you make smart decisions, and you walk out of that building with a comfortable win. That is the blueprint. Every single coach at every single level of basketball will tell you the same thing. Protect the lead, respect the basketball, and trust your system. The Indiana Fever did none of those things. What happened in the second half of this basketball game is the kind of thing that keeps coaches awake at 3 in the morning staring at the ceiling. The beautiful, flowing offense that built the 17-point lead completely disappeared. Gone. Like it was never there. The crisp ball movement turned into isolation after isolation after isolation. The defense stopped rotating. Communication broke down completely on the back end. And the Washington Mystics, a team that had absolutely no business being in this game based on the first half, suddenly started smelling blood in the water. They chipped, and they chipped, and they chipped. Possession by possession, the Mystics exposed the exact same structural weaknesses that have plagued this Indiana Fever team all season long. The same flaws we have broken down on this channel repeatedly. The same issues that Stephanie White has not found answers for despite having one of the most talented offensive players in the history of this league on her roster. The lead that felt like a mountain slowly became a hill, then a speed bump, and then it disappeared entirely. And the Fever fan base felt every single moment of it. Listen to this reaction, because this is genuine pain from someone who watched their team throw away a game that was already won. Very passionate in this, but now we just blew the lead. As of right now, the Fever has blew a 17-point lead. Bro, they blew a 17-point lead. They're losing this game right now. That frustration is valid. That frustration is earned. Because you do not blow a 17-point lead by accident. You do not give away that kind of advantage through bad luck or unfortunate bounces. You blow a 17-point lead through a catastrophic, systematic series of unforced errors. And the box score from this game tells the complete story in the most brutal way possible. 20 turnovers. Let that number sit with you for a second. 20 turnovers at the professional level. In the WNBA, where every possession is precious, where every basket is fought for, where defensive intensity is as high as it has ever been in the history of this league, the Indiana Fever gave the Washington Mystics 20 extra possessions. That is not a basketball mistake. That is a basketball crime. You are essentially handing the opposing team free points and asking them politely to take the game from you. And here is what makes those 20 turnovers even more damaging. These were not forced turnovers. Washington was not applying some revolutionary defensive pressure that no team had ever seen before. These were sloppy passes. These were miscommunications between teammates who have been playing together all season. These were players driving aggressively into double teams with absolutely no exit strategy, no plan B, no awareness of what was waiting for them on the other side of that drive. Pure recklessness with the basketball at the absolute worst time. Once again, give up over 20-plus defensive rebounds. They had 17 steals, 20 turnovers. Oh my goodness. We can't win having 20 turnovers and surrendering over 20 defensive rebounds. He is right. You cannot win like that. It is mathematically impossible to sustain that level of sloppiness and expect to hold a lead against any professional basketball team, let alone a Mystics team that was fighting for their season. The Indiana Fever were out-hustled, out-muscled, and completely outsmarted for the entire second half of a game they should have won comfortably by double digits. Now let's talk about coaching, because this is where my frustration with Stephanie White reaches its absolute peak. When a team starts hemorrhaging points, when the turnovers start piling up, when the momentum has completely flipped and the crowd that was celebrating is now sitting in stunned silence, an elite head coach acts immediately. You call timeout. You stop the bleeding before it becomes fatal. You gather your players. You calm the panic. You draw up a high-percentage offensive set to get an easy basket and shift the energy back in your direction. You remind your players who they are and what they are capable of. That did not happen here. Instead of stabilizing the ship, we watched the Fever coaching staff allow the team to devolve into absolute chaos. The offensive structure that existed in the first half was completely abandoned. And the most baffling decision of the entire second half? Taking the basketball out of Caitlyn Clark's hands during the most critical stretches of the game. You have the most dangerous offensive player in the WNBA on your roster. A player who can score from anywhere on the floor. A player who has proven time and time again that she wants the ball when the game is on the line. And your solution is to go away from her? That is a coaching failure. Full stop. As the game dragged into the final minute, the weight of the collapse was sitting on everyone in that arena. The Fever, who had controlled this game from the opening possession, now found themselves trailing. The momentum was entirely on Washington's side. The crowd energy had flipped completely, and even the most mentally tough players on the floor were starting to feel the suffocating pressure of what was happening. And then came the free throws. With a chance to tie or take the lead, Caitlyn Clark went to the charity stripe. For a player who shoots with the kind of mechanical precision that makes opposing coaches lose sleep, this should have been automatic. But basketball is a cruel and unforgiving sport. The legs get heavy. The nerves creep in even for the best players alive. And Clark missed them. Both of them. Caitlyn missed the first one. Missed them both. Caitlyn missed both free throws. The air left that arena. You could feel it through the broadcast. For 99% of the basketball players who have ever lived, missing those free throws in that moment is the end. The confidence shatters. The internal narrative becomes dark. The game is over mentally before the final buzzer sounds. Most players would not recover from that in the same night. Caitlyn Clark is not most players. This is the part of the story that separates the truly great from everyone else who has ever picked up a basketball. A generational superstar does not carry missed shots forward. A generational superstar understands at the cellular level that the next possession is a completely new universe. The past does not exist anymore. The missed free throws do not exist anymore. All that exists is the next play and the opportunity to change everything. The final minute was absolute chaos. Desperation defense from the Fever produced a crucial stop. They forced a turnover. They pushed the ball. They fought for every single inch of hardwood with everything they had left. But Washington held. The clock kept running. And with exactly 4.3 seconds remaining on the game clock, the Indiana Fever found themselves trailing 76-75. For 0.3 seconds. No timeouts remaining to advance the ball. The entire arena knowing exactly what needed to happen and having absolutely no idea if it was possible. This is the moment. This is where the legend either gets written or it does not. 4.3 seconds, 75-76. Fever have to score. Took a timeout. The Fever took a full timeout. Substitution. Caitlyn Clark enters the game. And now the tactical beauty of this final play becomes the entire conversation. The Washington Mystics know what is coming. Everybody in that building knows what is coming. Every single person watching at home knows what is coming. You cannot hide the play. You cannot disguise the intention. Caitlyn Clark is getting the basketball, and she is attempting the game-winning shot. The Mystics switch their coverage desperately, trying to deny her even a glimpse of the ball, taking away every clean catch opportunity they can identify. But here is what the Mystics forgot. And here is what every team that has tried to stop Caitlyn Clark has eventually learned the hard way. Great offensive players do not need a wide-open runway. They do not need a clean, comfortable catch on their preferred spot. They need one fraction of a second of daylight. Just one sliver of separation between themselves and the defender, and the rest takes care of itself. Clark uses a brilliant secondary screen to manufacture that sliver of space. She catches the basketball perfectly in stride. The timing is immaculate. But she is not at the three-point line when she catches it. She is not even close to the three-point line. She is standing 31 feet away from the basket, on the logo at center court, with a defender closing hard and 4.3 seconds on the clock, and the entire weight of a blown 17-point lead sitting on her shoulders. For any other human being who has ever played professional basketball, this is a desperate, low-percentage heave and a prayer. You throw it up, you hope for a miracle, and you accept the result whatever it is. For Caitlyn Clark, this is her living room. She does not hesitate. She does not take a dribble to step closer to the basket. She does not pump fake or look for a bailout. She catches, she elevates, she rises up over the outstretched arms of the defender who is doing everything physically possible to contest the shot, and she releases the basketball with the same mechanical precision she has when she is shooting warm-up threes before the game even starts. Watch what happens next. The shot. Here we go, baby. Mitchell screams, but so does Clark. Wide open and in. Wide open. Hall comes off the screen, but so does Clark and in. Wide open from the logo. Bang. Bang. That word. That single word from the broadcast captures everything. Because that shot was not lucky. That shot was not desperate. That shot was inevitable the moment Caitlyn Clark caught the basketball. It was always going in. The only question was whether everyone watching understood what they were witnessing in real time. That is not just a game-winning shot. That is a declaration. That is Caitlyn Clark sending a message to every single team in the WNBA, to every coach who has ever doubted her, to every analyst who has questioned whether her game translates, to every fan base that thought they had seen enough of her to know her ceiling. The message is simple and it is permanent. You can blow the 17-point lead. You can commit 20 turnovers. You can make every coaching mistake in the book. You can miss the free throws in the clutch. None of it matters. None of it is enough to beat this team as long as Caitlyn Clark is standing on that floor, because she will find a way to save you every single time. She erased the missed free throws with one shot. She erased the blown 17-point lead with one shot. She erased every bad decision made by the coaching staff in the second half with one shot from 31 feet away, with 4.3 seconds on the clock, and the entire season hanging in the balance. Indiana Fever 78, Washington Mystics 76. Final. But here is where we cannot let the magic of that moment distract us from the reality of what this game exposed, because the front office and coaching staff absolutely cannot use this win as an excuse to ignore the problems that nearly caused a catastrophic loss. 20 turnovers is not acceptable. It was not acceptable before the game-winning shot, and it is not acceptable after it. You cannot build a playoff contender on a foundation of sloppy ball security and hope that your star player bails you out at the buzzer every single night. That is not a system. That is a prayer. And prayers do not win championships in the WNBA playoffs when the defensive intensity gets dialed up to a level that makes the regular season look like a scrimmage. Stephanie White has to look at this film and understand that the second-half adjustments in this game were coaching malpractice. When your team has a 17-point lead and the structure falls apart, you cannot stand on the sideline and watch it happen. You have to be aggressive. You have to use your timeouts strategically. You have to keep the basketball in the hands of your most dangerous offensive weapon. You have to demand accountability from every player on the floor and every assistant coach on your bench. The Indiana Fever have something that most WNBA franchises can only dream about. They have a player who can take over any game, in any moment, under any amount of pressure, from any spot on the floor. That is not a common asset. That is a generational asset. And right now, the coaching staff is not maximizing what they have. They are surviving on the individual brilliance of one player instead of building a system that makes everyone around her better, while also keeping her fresh and dangerous for the moments that matter most. The playoffs will not be forgiving. In the postseason, the margins shrink. The defensive assignments get more sophisticated. The opposing coaches have 3 times the film to work with and significantly more time to prepare. If the Fever walk into the playoffs still committing 20 turnovers a game and still watching 17-point leads disappear in the second half, even Caitlyn Clark's heroics will not be enough to save them. This one was beautiful. That shot was historic. But the work that needs to happen between now and the postseason is enormous, and the time to start doing that work is right now. This is WNBA Pro. We break down the tape without apology. We celebrate greatness when it happens, and we expose the flaws that threaten to undermine it. If you want unfiltered, honest basketball analysis every single week, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on your notifications so you never miss a breakdown. Now get into the comments and tell me what you think. Was that the shot of the year in the entire WNBA? And more importantly, does a game-winning logo 3 from Caitlyn Clark actually excuse the coaching decisions that almost gave this game away? Drop your take below. I read every single comment, and I will see you in the next breakdown.